Hello, and welcome. Tonight, we travel back in time, back 2,000 years, to the place that would become London, a city of fire, a city of plague, a city of empire, a city that should have died many times. And yet, it never did. London did not become great overnight. It grew slowly, painfully, violently, layer by layer, century by century. Every street you walk today, every bridge, every tower, every stone is sitting on top of another London, a buried London, a forgotten London, a dangerous London. Tonight, we uncover it all. From Roman soldiers to Viking invasions, to kings, rebels, plagues, and world wars. This is the complete story of London. And our story begins before London existed at all. Before London. Close your eyes and imagine Britain 2,000 years ago. No skyscrapers, no bridges, no streets, no city, only wilderness. Dense forests stretching for miles, cold mist rolling across marshland, the wide brown river we now call the Thames. The Thames was everything, a highway, a food source, a natural border. But there was a problem. Most of the river was too wide, too deep, too dangerous to cross. Except for one place. A narrow, shallow crossing point. A place where traders could cross the river, where tribes could meet, where goods could move north and south. That tiny crossing point would change history forever. Because in the year 43 AD, the Romans arrived. The Roman invasion. In 43 AD, the Roman Empire invaded Britain, not to explore, not to negotiate, to conquer. The Emperor Claudius wanted glory, new lands, new taxes, new power. 40,000 Roman soldiers landed on British shores, disciplined, organized, ruthless. Local tribes fought back, but they were no match for Roman military machines. Within years, the Romans controlled much of southern Britain, and they needed a base, a trading hub, a military supply center, a river port. They found the perfect spot at the Thames crossing, and they built a settlement. They called it Londinium. Birth of Londinium. Around the year 47 AD, construction began. At first, Londinium was small, a wooden bridge across the Thames, a few roads, warehouses, timber buildings. But the location was perfect. Ships could sail from Europe directly to the settlement. Goods could travel inland using Roman roads. Trade exploded. Grain, wine, olive oil, metal, slaves, luxury goods. Within 20 years, Londinium became one of the most important towns in Roman Britain. But then, disaster struck. The Boudiccan Revolt. In the year 60 or 61 AD, Britain erupted in rebellion. A Celtic queen named Boudica led an uprising against Roman rule. Her reasons were brutal. Roman officials had flogged her, assaulted her daughters, seized tribal lands. Rome had pushed too far, and Britain fought back. Boudica gathered a massive army, tens of thousands strong. They attacked Roman strongholds, one by one. Camulodunum fell first, then Verulamium, and then Londinium. Roman leaders made a cold decision. They abandoned the city, left it completely undefended. When Boudica's army arrived, they burned Londinium to the ground. Every building, every street, every warehouse destroyed. Tens of thousands died. The young city of London lasted barely 20 years. And it was gone. Rome rebuilds. But Rome did not give up easily. After crushing the rebellion, the Romans returned, and this time they built Londinium properly. Bigger, stronger, richer. They built a forum and basilica, the center of government, a huge amphitheater for entertainment, public bathhouses, temples, paved roads, and eventually a defensive wall. 3 miles long, 20 feet high, built from stone. Roman London was now a real city. By the year 100 AD, Londinium had around 60,000 people. For ancient Britain, this was enormous. It became the capital of Roman Britain, a place of power, trade, culture, a Roman city on the edge of the known world. Life in Roman London. Imagine walking through Londinium at its peak. The streets are busy, crowded, noisy. Merchants shouting, horses clattering, blacksmiths hammering iron. You hear many languages: Latin, Celtic dialects, Greek, Germanic tongues. Roman soldiers patrol the streets. Citizens visit bathhouses. Politicians debate in the forum. Crowds gather at the amphitheater. It smells of smoke, food, animals, human life. Londinium was alive, but Rome's power would not last forever. The Roman withdrawal. By the early 400s, the Roman Empire was in crisis. Barbarian invasions, civil wars, economic collapse. Rome could no longer protect distant provinces. In 410 AD, the Romans made a decision. They abandoned Britain. Roman soldiers left, officials left, money stopped flowing. Londinium suddenly stood alone. Without Rome, the city could not survive. Trade collapsed, government vanished, buildings fell into ruin. Within decades, Londinium was nearly empty. The great Roman city faded into silence. Nature reclaimed the streets. Grass grew through stone roads. Buildings crumbled. The great city became a ghost. For nearly 200 years, London barely existed. But the story was far from over, because new people were coming, and they would build a new London. The empty city. Imagine walking through London around the year 500. Silence. No markets, no crowds, no soldiers marching. The great Roman city still stands, but only barely. Stone walls remain. Empty streets stretch into the distance. Broken buildings crumble slowly into dust. Wind whistles through abandoned bathhouses. Grass grows inside former villas. The mighty Londinium is now a ruin. For generations, almost no one lives inside the old Roman walls. To the people arriving in Britain, it feels haunted, a dead city from a forgotten empire. But humans rarely ignore good geography for long, and the Thames crossing is still perfect. So a new settlement begins to grow, not inside the Roman ruins, but just to the west. The birth of Lundenwic. Around the 600s, Anglo-Saxon settlers arrive. They do not rebuild Roman London. Instead, they start fresh. A new town forms along the river. Wooden houses, simple streets, busy docks. They call it Lundenwic. The name means London Trading Town. This is not a grand capital, not a stone city. It is a trading port. Ships arrive from across the North Sea, from Scandinavia, from Northern Europe, from Frankish kingdoms. Goods flow in and out constantly. Furs, amber, glass, wine, textiles, metalwork. Lundenwic grows fast. By the 700s, it is one of the busiest ports in Northern Europe. A lively, noisy, messy town. Very different from the Roman city before it. Life in Anglo-Saxon London. Picture the streets. No stone roads now, only dirt paths, mud after rain, smoke rising from wooden homes. Blacksmiths work iron, merchants haggle loudly, children run between market stalls. The smell of cooking fires fills the air. People speak Old English, a language very different from modern English. London is alive again, but danger is coming. From the sea. The first Viking raids. In the late 700s, a new threat appears. Long ships, fast, silent, deadly. The Vikings. Scandinavian raiders begin attacking coastal settlements across Britain. At first, the raids are small, quick attacks, fast escapes, steal what they can, and disappear. But the attacks grow bolder, and richer targets attract attention. Lundenwic is very rich. Vikings attack London. In 842, Vikings attack London. The chronicles call it a great slaughter. The city is looted, burned, devastated. But the attacks do not stop. In 851, the Vikings return, this time with a massive fleet, hundreds of ships, thousands of warriors. They storm London again, and this time, they stay. The Anglo-Saxon town cannot defend itself. London falls under Viking control. For the second time in its history, the city collapses. King Alfred the Great. Then, a king steps forward, Alfred of Wessex. History will remember him as Alfred the Great. Alfred understands something crucial. The old Roman city still has walls, strong walls, defensible walls. So in 886, Alfred retakes London from the Vikings and makes a brilliant decision. He abandons Lundenvik. He moves the population back inside the Roman walls. The old city comes back to life. Alfred repairs the defenses, rebuilds the walls, restores the ditches. London becomes a fortress city. It is now called Lundenburg, the London stronghold. The abandoned trading town slowly fades away. Over time, it becomes known as Eldvik, the old settlement. Today, we still know it as Aldwych, a curved street in central London, a tiny reminder of a forgotten city. London between Saxons and Danes. For the next 150 years, London changes hands repeatedly. Saxon kings rule, then Danish kings, then Saxons again. War after war, siege after siege. But something important has changed. London is now too valuable to ignore. Whoever controls London controls trade, controls money, controls power. And in 1016, a Viking king takes the throne, King Canute and Viking London. King Canute, yes, the one from the famous legend about commanding the tide. He makes London his capital. Under Canute, London thrives again. Trade expands, wealth grows, the city becomes a political center. And then, a new king arrives, a king whose decision will shape London forever. Edward the Confessor. In 1042, Edward the Confessor becomes king. Edward prefers peace, prayer, and religion. And he makes a decision that changes London's geography forever. He builds a great abbey, just west of the city, Westminster Abbey, a royal church, a place of coronations, a symbol of power. This creates a split that still exists today. The city of London becomes the center of trade. Westminster becomes the center of government, commerce, and power, side by side. The year 1066. Edward dies in January 1066. He leaves no heir, and England falls into chaos. Multiple men claim the throne. One of them is Harold Godwinson. He becomes king. But across the English Channel, another man is watching. William, Duke of Normandy. He believes the crown belongs to him, and he is willing to fight for it. The invasion begins. In September 1066, England is attacked from the north, a Norwegian invasion. King Harold marches north, fights a brutal battle, and wins. But before his army can rest, terrible news arrives. William has landed in the south, with 7,000 Norman soldiers. Harold turns his exhausted army around, marches south as fast as possible, and meets William near the town of Hastings. October 14th, 1066, one of the most famous battles in history. By nightfall, Harold is dead, and William has won England. London's next chapter is about to begin. The Anglo-Saxon era is over. The Norman era begins now. A new ruler, Christmas Day, 1066. Snow covers the ground. London is tense, nervous, watching. Inside Westminster Abbey, a coronation takes place. William of Normandy becomes King of England. William the Conqueror. The Norman era has begun. But London is not fully loyal. The city supported Harold. And William knows it. He does not trust London. Not yet. And when William doesn't trust a city, he builds castles, fortresses over London. William decides London must be controlled, watched, dominated, intimidated. So he orders the construction of fortresses. Not one, not two, three. Fortresses positioned around the city, like a warning. The largest of them becomes legendary, the Tower of London. At first, it is not a palace, not a museum, not a tourist attraction. It is a symbol of conquest, a message in stone. You are ruled now. The White Tower. At the heart of the fortress stands the White Tower, massive, cold, unmistakable, 90 feet tall, walls up to 12 feet thick. For medieval Londoners, it is overwhelming. It dominates the skyline, a constant reminder of Norman power. Over the centuries, the tower will become many things: a royal residence, a prison, an execution site, a treasury. But in the beginning, it is simple: control, fear, authority. Medieval London grows. By the year 1100, London begins to grow again, slowly, steadily, relentlessly. Around 15,000 people now live here. The streets are narrow, crowded, dirty, but the city is thriving. Markets fill the streets, ships crowd the Thames, trade expands every year. London is becoming rich, and with wealth comes power. The rise of the guilds. London's merchants begin forming guilds, powerful associations controlling trade. Goldsmiths, fishmongers, drapers, mercers. If you want to sell goods in London, you must belong to a guild. They control prices, training, standards. They protect their members fiercely. Over time, these guilds become incredibly powerful. So powerful, even kings must negotiate with them. London is no longer just a city. It is becoming a political force. Magna Carta and London's power. In 1215, England reaches a breaking point. King John is unpopular. Taxes are high. Barons are furious. They rebel, and they force the king to sign one of the most famous documents in history, the Magna Carta. London plays a crucial role. The rebels need the city's support, and London demands something in return: the right to elect its own mayor, protection from arbitrary taxes. The city secures its independence. From this moment on, London will always have a special status. Not just a city, a power center. London Bridge. Meanwhile, another massive project is underway. London Bridge. Not the simple wooden bridges of the past, a stone bridge, huge, permanent, ambitious. Construction begins in 1176. It takes 33 years to complete. When finished, it is more than a bridge. It is a city on a bridge. Shops line both sides. Houses stand above the river. A chapel sits at the center. It even has a drawbridge. And something darker: the heads of traitors displayed on spikes, a warning to all who enter London. For more than 600 years, this is the only bridge across the Thames. One crossing, one lifeline, one symbol of London. A city packed with people. By the 1300s, London is booming. The population grows rapidly. Tens of thousands now live inside the city walls. But the city cannot expand outward. The walls trap growth inside. So London grows upward. Houses stack higher. Streets grow tighter. Buildings lean toward each other. Upper floors nearly touch across narrow streets. Sunlight barely reaches the ground. It is crowded, noisy, unsanitary, and perfect for disease. The Black Death arrives. In 1348, ships arrive in London's docks. They carry cargo, they carry sailors, they carry rats. And on those rats, fleas. And in those fleas, the Black Death. The plague spreads fast, terrifyingly fast. Within 2 years, between 1/3 and 1/2 of London's population dies. Entire streets fall silent. Homes are abandoned. Mass graves are dug outside the walls. The city is devastated. London shrinks overnight. But once again, it survives. Slowly, painfully, life returns. The peasants revolt. By 1381, tension fills the air. Taxes are rising, workers are angry, peasants demand change, and they march on London. Led by Wat Tyler, thousands storm the city. They attack the Tower of London, execute powerful officials, burn palaces. For a moment, the ruling class is terrified. The young king Richard II meets the rebels. He makes promises, but the revolt is crushed. Wat Tyler is killed, leaders executed, order is restored. But the message is clear. The people of London have power, and the rulers will never forget it. A city ready to explode. By the late Middle Ages, London is growing again. Trade expands, population rises, wealth increases. The stage is set for transformation. The next era will change London forever. Religion will break. Empires will rise. The population will explode. The Tudor Age is coming. London in 1500. It is the year 1500. London is no longer a medieval town struggling to survive. It is growing, faster than ever before. Around 50,000 people now live here. The city feels busy, crowded, restless, but no one yet knows. London is about to explode because one king is about to change everything. Henry VIII changes England forever. Henry VIII becomes king in 1509, young, charismatic, ambitious. At first, England is still Catholic. The Pope still holds religious power. But Henry wants something the church will not give him: a divorce. His marriage is failing. He wants a male heir. The Pope refuses, and Henry makes a shocking decision. If the Pope will not allow it, he will remove the Pope. In the 1530s, Henry breaks away from the Catholic Church. He creates the Church of England and declares himself its head. Religion in England changes overnight, but the biggest impact is still coming: the dissolution of the monasteries. Monasteries across England own vast amounts of land, including huge areas in London. Henry seizes it all. Church lands, church wealth, church buildings, sold, redistributed, rebuilt. Suddenly, enormous space becomes available inside London. Aristocrats build grand houses. Wealthy merchants invest in property. London finally has room to grow. And grow it does. The population explosion. The numbers are staggering. 1,500, 50,000 people. 1,600, 200,000 people. 1650, nearly 400,000 people. London becomes the largest city in Europe, a true mega-city, centuries before the modern world. Opportunities attract people from everywhere: workers, traders, artists, sailors. London is becoming the heart of England, and under Queen Elizabeth I, it becomes something even more: the cultural capital of Europe. The Age of Shakespeare. The late 1500s, the Elizabethan era. London is buzzing with creativity, and in 1599, a theater opens on the south bank of the Thames, the Globe Theatre. Crowds gather daily. They watch plays by a rising playwright: William Shakespeare, Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, Romeo and Juliet. London becomes the center of English theater, a city of stories, a city of performance. Entertainment becomes big business. The rise of global trade. At the same time, London's merchants look outward, far outward. In 1600, a company is founded, the East India Company. Its goal is simple: trade with Asia, spices, silk, tea, luxury goods. This company will eventually help build the British Empire, and London will become its financial heart. Wealth begins flowing into the city, from the Americas, from Africa, from Asia. London is becoming a global trading powerhouse. But the city still has a deadly weakness. Two weaknesses: disease and fire. A dangerous city. Tudor London is beautiful, but also incredibly dangerous. Most buildings are made of timber. Roofs are thatched. Streets are narrow. Buildings lean toward each other. Open fires burn in every home. Candles everywhere. No fire departments. London is a giant tinderbox, waiting for a spark. And soon, disaster strikes. Twice. The Great Plague of 1665. In 1665, plague returns. Not the Black Death exactly, but close enough. It spreads rapidly through crowded streets. At its peak, 7,000 people die every week. The wealthy flee the city. The poor are trapped. By the time the plague ends, around 100,000 people are dead, a quarter of London's population. The city is traumatized, but the worst is still coming. The Great Fire of London, September 2nd, 1666. A bakery on Pudding Lane. A small fire begins. It is a hot summer. Strong winds blow, and the fire spreads, faster than anyone believes possible. For 4 days, London burns. 85% of the city is destroyed. 13,000 houses gone. 87 churches destroyed. St. Paul's Cathedral lost. 100,000 people are homeless. Medieval London is gone, destroyed in flames. But from the ashes, a new city will rise. A city in ashes. The fire is finally over. Smoke still hangs in the air. The smell of ash covers the city. Entire neighborhoods are gone. London looks unrecognizable. Where streets once stood, there is rubble. Where churches stood, there are ruins. Where homes stood, there is nothing. Thousands are homeless, businesses destroyed, lives shattered. But something surprising happens. Instead of despair, London feels possibility, because destruction brings opportunity, a chance to rebuild the city from scratch. Christopher Wren's vision. One man sees the future clearly. Christopher Wren, architect, scientist, visionary. He proposes something radical, a completely new London. Wide boulevards, grand squares, classical architecture. A modern city, centuries ahead of its time. It is an incredible plan, but it never happens. Why? Because of property. Land ownership is complicated. People want to rebuild fast. Arguments begin immediately. In the end, most streets follow the old medieval layout. The dream of a perfect city disappears. But not everything is lost. Building a safer London. New building rules are introduced. Timber is banned. New buildings must be made of brick or stone. Fire-resistant materials. London becomes safer, stronger, more permanent. And Christopher Wren still gets one enormous project: rebuilding St. Paul's Cathedral. The new St. Paul's Cathedral. The old cathedral burned in the fire. Now Wren designs a new one. Huge, elegant, magnificent. The construction takes 35 years. When it is finished, the dome dominates the skyline. It becomes one of the most recognizable buildings in the world. A symbol of London's resilience. A symbol of rebirth. Coffee houses. The internet of the 1700s. As London rebuilds, something new appears. Coffee houses. Dozens, then hundreds. Places where people gather to talk, to debate, to share news, to exchange ideas. No newspapers yet, no internet. Coffee houses become the information network of the city. Every profession gathers in its own favorite place. Writers, traders, politicians, scientists. Ideas spread faster than ever before, and some of these coffee houses become famous institutions. Lloyd's of London. One coffee house is run by Edward Lloyd. Sailors and ship owners meet there. They talk about voyages, cargo, storms, risks. Soon, they begin insuring ships, sharing risk. This small coffee house becomes Lloyd's of London, one of the world's most famous insurance markets. The birth of the stock exchange. Another coffee house becomes famous, Jonathan's Coffee House. Merchants gather there to trade shares, buy, sell, invest. This becomes the London Stock Exchange. Modern finance is being born inside coffee houses. London is no longer just a trading port. It is becoming the financial center of the world. London, capital of an empire. By the 1700s, Britain is rising. Trade networks span the globe, colonies expand, and London sits at the center of it all. Money flows into the city. Banks grow powerful. Shipping companies thrive. Merchants become incredibly wealthy. London is becoming the capital of an empire, and the city keeps expanding. 10 Downing Street. In 1735, a political tradition begins. Robert Walpole becomes the first prime minister. He moves into a house on Downing Street, number 10. It will remain the official residence of British prime ministers for centuries. London is now the center of government. Buckingham House. In 1761, King George III buys a large house, Buckingham House, originally a private residence. It will eventually become Buckingham Palace, the home of British monarchs. London is filling with symbols of power, government, finance, royalty, all in one city. More bridges, more growth. For centuries, London had only one bridge, London Bridge. Now, more crossings appear. Westminster Bridge opens in 1750, Blackfriars Bridge in 1769. The city spreads across the Thames. Expansion accelerates. The stage is set for the next transformation, the Industrial Revolution, and London's greatest population boom. Britain becomes the superpower. The year is 1815. Napoleon has been defeated. After decades of war, Britain stands victorious, the dominant world power. And where does the wealth flow? London. Banks, trading houses, shipping companies, factories. Money pours into the city from across the empire. India, the Caribbean, Africa, Asia. London becomes the financial heart of a global empire. But the city is about to change in a way no one could imagine. The Industrial Revolution, the population explosion. In 1801, London has just over 1 million people, already enormous. But then, the numbers begin to skyrocket. Factories create jobs, railways connect cities, people flood into London seeking opportunity. 1851, 2.5 million people. 1901, 6.5 million people. London becomes the largest city on Earth, the first true megacity in human history. The city grows faster than infrastructure can handle, and the Victorians begin building on a massive scale. The Victorian building boom. London transforms rapidly. Entire neighborhoods appear almost overnight. Grand buildings rise across the city. New roads, new bridges, new railways. Victorian ambition is enormous. They want London to look like the capital of the world, and they build accordingly. Trafalgar Square. In the 1840s, Trafalgar Square is created, a huge public space, built to commemorate Admiral Nelson's victory over Napoleon. Nelson's column rises above the square, a monument to British naval power, a gathering place for the city. The Houses of Parliament and Big Ben. Disaster strikes again. In 1834, the old Houses of Parliament burned down, a familiar story in London. But this time, the rebuilding is monumental. A new palace rises along the Thames. Gothic revival architecture, towering spires, detailed stonework, grand scale. And beside it, the famous clock tower, Big Ben, one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world. London's skyline is changing forever. The Great Exhibition of 1851. In 1851, London hosts a spectacular event, the Great Exhibition, held in Hyde Park. A massive building is constructed, the Crystal Palace, made of iron and glass. It showcases Britain's industrial power, machines, technology, inventions. 6 million people visit, a moment of supreme confidence. Britain, at the height of its power. London, the center of the world. The Great Stink. But beneath the success, the city has a serious problem: sewage. Millions of people produce waste, and most of it ends up in the River Thames. The river becomes toxic. In 1858, the smell becomes unbearable. The Great Stink. Parliament is forced to shut down. Something must be done. The sewers of London. Engineer Joseph Bazalgette creates a solution: a massive sewer system. Miles and miles of tunnels, designed to carry waste away from the city. It works brilliantly. The Thames becomes cleaner, disease decreases, and much of the system still works today. A hidden masterpiece beneath London's streets. The birth of the underground transportation becomes another challenge. The city is too big to cross easily, so London builds something revolutionary. In 1863, the world's first underground railway opens. The London Underground. Steam trains run beneath the streets. Crowded, smoky, revolutionary. It changes urban life forever. Soon, underground railways spread around the world. But London did it first. Tower Bridge. By the late 1800s, another engineering marvel appears: Tower Bridge. Completed in 1894, a bascule bridge that opens for ships, an icon of Victorian engineering. London is now filled with monumental structures, symbols of ambition, symbols of power. But beneath the grandeur, a darker reality exists: a city of extreme inequality. Victorian London is two cities in one. The rich live in Lux, Uri, Mayfair, Belgravia, grand houses and elegant streets. Meanwhile, the poor live in the East End. Crowded slums, disease, poverty. Cholera outbreaks kill tens of thousands. Dirty water spreads illness rapidly, until one doctor changes everything: the discovery of cholera. In 1854, Dr. John Snow makes a discovery. Cholera spreads through contaminated water, not bad air. This breakthrough saves countless lives. London begins improving sanitation, but crime remains a serious problem. The first police force. In 1829, Robert Peel creates the Metropolitan Police, the first professional police force. Officers become known as bobbies, named after Peel. Law enforcement becomes organized, but the city still has its dark side. Jack the Ripper. In 1888, fear grips London. A serial killer stalks the East End, Jack the Ripper. He murders at least 5 women. He is never caught. The mystery becomes legendary, a symbol of London's dangerous underbelly. The Victorian era ends. By the end of the 1800s, London stands unmatched. The largest city in the world, the capital of a global empire, a city of wealth, innovation, inequality. But the 20th century is coming, and it will bring war, destruction, and reinvention. The 20th century begins. The year is 1900. London is at its peak, the largest city in the world, the heart of the British Empire, a symbol of global power. But beneath the surface, tension is rising. Empires compete, nations arm themselves. Europe is becoming unstable, and soon, the world will break apart. The First World War. In 1914, war begins. The First World War. Millions of soldiers are sent to the front. From London, hundreds of thousands never return. The city itself is not destroyed, but its people are deeply scarred. Factories work for war production. Families lose sons and fathers. Life changes permanently. When the war ends in 1918, London is exhausted, but it is still standing. The real destruction is yet to come. Between the wars. The 1920s and 1930s bring uncertainty, economic hardship, unemployment, political tension. The empire still exists, but it is weakening. And across Europe, a new threat rises: fascism. Another global conflict becomes inevitable, and London begins preparing without knowing it. The Second World War begins. In 1939, war breaks out again. Germany invades Poland. Britain declares war. The Second World War has begun. At first, London is not heavily attacked, but everyone knows that will not last. The Blitz begins. September 1940, German bombers arrive over London. Night after night, the city is bombed. Searchlights sweep the sky. Anti-aircraft guns fire constantly. Sirens scream across the city. This becomes known as the Blitz. Night after night of bombing. For months, London is attacked relentlessly. Entire neighborhoods are destroyed. Homes collapse. Streets burn. Lives are lost. Yet the city does not stop. People sleep in underground stations. Trains become shelters. Communities form underground. London adapts, under fire. St. Paul's Cathedral survives. One of the most iconic images of the war, St. Paul's Cathedral standing above smoke and flames, miraculously untouched, the dome rising above destruction, a symbol of survival, a symbol of resistance. London refuses to fall. Massive destruction. By the end of the Blitz, hundreds of thousands of buildings are damaged or destroyed. Entire districts are flattened. The city is changed forever. But it still stands, still functioning, still fighting, still alive. After the war. In 1945, the war ends, but London is broken. Economy damaged, buildings destroyed, lives lost, and the British Empire begins to collapse. India becomes independent in 1947. Other colonies follow. London is no longer the center of a global empire. It must reinvent itself again. The Great Smog of 1952. Rebuilding is slow. Coal is still widely used. In 1952, disaster strikes again. A thick fog covers the city. But this is not normal fog. It is pollution. The Great Smog. For 5 days, the city is trapped in toxic air. Thousands die. This event forces major environmental reform. London must change or suffer again. A new London emerges. The 1950s bring recovery, new housing, new infrastructure, new policies. A major cultural shift begins. London becomes more diverse. A new generation arrives from the Caribbean, the Windrush generation, followed by migrants from India, Pakistan, Africa, and beyond. London begins transforming into a global, multicultural city. Swinging London. The 1960s bring energy, music, fashion, culture, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Carnaby Street, Mary Quant. London becomes young again, creative, rebellious, influential. For a moment, it feels like the world's cultural capital. Difficult decades. But the following years are harder. Economic decline, strikes, terrorism, uncertainty. The city struggles again. By the 1980s, parts of London feel abandoned. Old docks empty, industries close. East London declines. But change is coming once more. Reinvention begins. The docklands are redeveloped. Canary Wharf rises from abandoned docks. Glass towers replace warehouses. Finance becomes the new industry. London transforms again, this time into a global financial center. And the city enters a new era, entering the 21st century. The year is 2000. London steps into a new millennium. A giant structure opens on the Thames, the Millennium Dome. Controversial, expensive, debated. At first, it feels like a failure. But London has a habit of turning failures into something new. The dome is later transformed into the O2 Arena, another reinvention, another transformation. London never stays the same for long. A city rebuilt again. The 21st century brings rapid change. Old industrial zones are replaced with modern districts. Glass towers rise across the skyline. The Shard, the Gherkin, the Walkie-Talkie Building. Some love them, some hate them, but they define modern London, a city where old and new exist side by side. Medieval streets under glass skyscrapers, Roman ruins under modern offices, Victorian buildings next to steel towers, layer upon layer of history. The 2012 Olympics. In 2012, London hosts the Olympic Games. East London is transformed. New stadiums, new transport links, new parks. The city presents itself to the world once again. Modern, diverse, global. Billions watch. And London delivers a message. It is still here, still evolving, still relevant. A city of millions. Today, London is home to more than 9 million people, the most since before the Second World War. But numbers alone do not define it. London is defined by its diversity. More than 300 languages are spoken. Every neighborhood tells a different story. Brixton, Southall, Brick Lane, Chinatown, Greenwich, Camden, each one a different world. A global city. Modern London is not just British, it is global. People from every continent live here. Food from every culture, music from every tradition, communities from every background. London is not one identity, it is thousands, all existing at the same time. Sometimes in harmony, sometimes in tension, but always together. The changing skyline. The skyline keeps evolving. Glass towers rise beside ancient churches. The Shard pierces the sky. The River Thames reflects a mix of centuries. Old stone, Victorian brick, modern steel, all in one view. Few cities in the world carry this level of visible history. London does not erase its past. It builds on top of it. A city that survives everything. Think back. London has survived. Roman collapse, Viking invasions, medieval plagues, civil unrest, the Black Death, the Great Fire, industrial pollution, 2 world wars, the Blitz, economic collapse. Each time, it is damaged. Each time, it is rebuilt. Each time, it changes. But it never disappears. Why London endures? Why? Because London is not just a place. It is an idea, a trading hub, a political center, a cultural crossroads. People come here, from everywhere, for opportunity, for survival, for ambition, for hope. And each generation reshapes the city, adds a new layer, removes an old one, creates something new. The city of layers. If you could strip away modern London, you would find beneath it Roman streets, Anglo-Saxon markets, medieval walls, Victorian sewers, war damage, rebuilt neighborhoods, a complete timeline buried under itself. London is not one city. It is many cities stacked on top of each other. Final reflection. And maybe that is why London feels alive, because it is never finished, never complete, never static. It is always rebuilding itself, always changing, always adapting. From a Roman trading post to a medieval fortress, to an imperial capital, to a modern global city, London has never stopped moving forward, and it never will. Closing. And so, the story of London continues, not as a finished history, but as a living one, written every day by the people who walk its streets, build its buildings, shape its future. London survives because it changes, and because it changes, it endures. Thank you for watching.